Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Got my, I consider him a friend. I've known him now for decades, Jerry Patterson. He's slowly joining a group of people that I've known longer than either one of us want to admit. And, a great friend of liberty, a great friend to the conservative cause. And now a man who is running for lieutenant governor. And what I think is so cool about your running for the lieutenant governor, I think it's cool in many respects, Commissioner Patterson, but I think what's really cool about it is that you were doing it before the lieutenant governor, David Dewhurst, was injured.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you decided you were running even while it was really early in the Dewhurst campaign for U.S. Senate, and now I get the sense with so many other people running is that there's opportunism going on, whereas I felt your decision and the timing of your decision was one that clearly you were looking at it for a long period of time before you made a decision to do it, and it wasn't going after the injured guy.
Yeah, I'm not looking for a, quote, higher office, and I don't necessarily consider, I'm the Texas Land Commissioner. I love what I do. I got people that work for me that make even me look good, which can be difficult on occasion, but I'm not looking for higher office or changing office. I just considered, in my humble opinion, that we have a vacuum of leadership in Austin, and I can help fill that, and by being the next lieutenant governor. There's some other gentlemen in the race. But I've been at it for quite some time, and I consider myself to be the best option, naturally.
Of course. I think you probably wouldn't have much of a chance if you thought you were the second best option.
Yeah. Why would you be doing that?
Why are you running? Endorse the other guy, please, by all means.
Yeah.
So, you've had a lot of experience in government. You were a state senator for quite some time. When did you get elected?
Yeah.
How long were you?
I was state senator for 6 years.
Oh, for 6 years. That's right.
Yeah.
And then you moved into the Texas Land Commissioner. When was that?
Well, I was elected. I ran for Land Commissioner in '98 unsuccessfully. David Dewhurst is my opponent. He prevailed. Then I came back 4 years later and ran successfully in 2002, and I've been Land Commissioner since 2002. So that's 3 terms. And now I'm, running for lieutenant governor. I mean, why would you not run for lieutenant governor? It pays $600 a month. I mean, it's all about the money.
Yeah, it's actually the lowest paid of all the statewide offices. They get paid $600 a month plus some additional amount, but it's not much. It's based on the senator's salary, correct?
It's the same as a member of the legislature.
Yep.
And since you are required to live in Austin, and that's your home, you don't get per diem. Members of the legislature get a per diem of about $100 a day when they travel to Austin. And, that's reasonable, but the lieutenant governor is required by law to live there, so you don't even get the per diem. But, obviously I'm not in this for the money. And there are people who question my judgment, though. I had a guy tell me, I'm not going to vote for you. Anybody will leave a job, pays a decent wage for $600. But there's some things that need to be done in Texas. We need to move forward. We're gaining 1,000 population per day when you consider births, deaths, and people moving here from other countries like California. And we've got water issues, education, transportation, and Republicans need to lead. And I think I can do that.
Commissioner Patterson, you just created a great segue for me, and I appreciate it. You talked about the huge number of people that have moved here. Texas, one of the fastest growing states in the country. Houston, where I'm at, one of the fastest growing cities. But I don't think people who are moving here are very familiar with the unique nature of Texas government, and particularly the role of lieutenant governor. It's unlike the lieutenant governor of any other state in the union. And so it'd be a nice civics lesson if you could elaborate a little bit on that.
Well, the lieutenant governors in other states sometimes are ceremonial only, but the lieutenant governor in Texas presides over the Senate, and that's 31-member body. And as a presiding officer, you appoint the committee chairs, you appoint the committee members, you recognize or not recognize members to move a bill and bring it up for a debate. So I think the lieutenant governor and the speaker are the most significant, influential, powerful, whatever word you want to use, elected officials in Texas government. Texas after Reconstruction, we were suspicious of centralized power we were suspicious of a strong governor because our Reconstruction governor was Edmund Davis. He was kind of a tyrant. So we made the governor's office
He was an appointed tyrant, too, wasn't he, by the federal government?
He was initially, that's how it started out. Then he lost the election. I forgot what election it was, and then he wouldn't leave the Capitol. And then we had two governors. We had two governors at the Capitol fighting it out. Almost quite, didn't quite fight it out, but we had two governors because Davis wouldn't live. It was Reconstruction. And so when we wrote the Constitution of 1876, we made a weak governor, a weak executive, and put the power in the legislature. Now, that's changed a little bit since Rick Perry's been governor because he's been there so long that virtually every appointment in every appointed office in Texas was appointed by Governor Perry. So he's probably the most powerful governor that, and it's just kind of like, it's because of the fact that he's been there so long and has so many tentacles in government. Otherwise, the governor's a pretty weak office, and lieutenant governor and speaker are much more powerful. Yeah,
and so it's interesting to see that dichotomy. I think it's really very interesting. Compare yourself to your opponents, and you can do this without naming names. But what raises you to the top in terms of your competition?
Well, I guess the bottom line is I'm straight. I will tell you what I think. I will tell you what I believe in. I will tell you what I want to do. And that's even reflected on the website. The gentlemen in the race are, of course, the incumbent David Dewhurst, state senator from Houston, Dan Patrick, and Ag Commissioner Todd Staples. But if you go to all four of our websites, you're only going to find one person who's got some detail out there, specificity. So I'm the guy that's straight, and you may not agree with me, but I'm going to tell you where I am, and I'm going to say the same thing in front of one audience that I say in front of another audience, no matter what the opinion or what the venue may be. I think that's the distinction. The other thing is I'm very anti-political correctness, and I don't suffer, cliches, bumper sticker sloganeering as a method of campaigning. I'm just going to tell you what I think needs to be done, and we'll move forward. There are too many politicians in politics, I guess, too many folks worried about the next election as opposed to the next generation of Texans. This is my last office. I don't have one foot in the grave, don't get me wrong, but I'm running for lieutenant.
Yeah, wait a minute. I got a breaking story here, but anyway, go ahead.
I'm running for lieutenant governor. I will run for re-election one time, and then I'm going home. I'm 66 years old, and I got other things to do. But I want to serve 2 terms as lieutenant governor, lead without fear and without concern for the next election, or what some pollster, pundit, or blogger says about me. That's what you get when you get Jerry Patterson.
Commissioner, one last question, and it needs to be a brief answer, please. How do you feel like you're faring out there in the various debates and the panels and the outreach you're doing to the Texas community?
I think we outperform the others, and it's mainly because just what I described. I answer the question. Even if folks don't like the answer, the other folks tend not to answer the question. There's no pablum coming from Jerry Patterson. I'm just going to tell you what I think.
Yep, Jerry Patterson. You can learn more about him at votepatterson.com, Leadership Without Fear. And, in the decades now I've known you, I think that's probably a very good a good tagline for you. I appreciate you spending some time with us today.
All right, Kevin, I appreciate it, too.
You bet. All right, when we come back, much more for you. Do want to remind you, best content here shows up over at usdailyreview.com. We, of course, will have this interview over there for your entertainment or infotainment, as Glenn Beck likes to say. So make sure you check that out over there at usdailyreview.com. While there, like it on Facebook, follow it on Twitter. And you're listening to The Price of Business.